Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
William Gargan, starring in an episode of Barrie Craig Confidential Investigator, going back 68 years ago to September 7th, 1954, and Ghosts Don't Die in Bed. We thank you for tuning in. On this Wednesday, this is the 7th day of September, 250th day of the year, 115 days remaining till we get to 2023. Former cartoonist Johnny Gorell given a patent for his Raggedy Ann doll on this date in 1915. In 1940, Nazi Germany began its initial blitz on London during World War II.
Out of the heavens, hell came to London.
The London Blitz beginning on this date in 1940. Truth or Consequences, the game show, initially on radio, debuted on television on this date in 1950. It ran on radio from 1940 to 1957 and ran on TV regularly until 1975 and then just occasionally until 1988. While producer Ralph Edwards would host the radio version and initially host the TV version, other hosts would take over on TV, including Queen for a Day host Jack Bailey, and a man better known as the host of The New Price is Right, Bob Barker. By the way, can I say how annoyed I am? I think I said this previously, but everybody's talking about how this is the 50th anniversary this year of The Price is Right. It actually is the 66th anniversary. It seems like they tend to want to forget the origins of the show from the great Bill Cullen, who started the show back in 1956. The adaptation of the book The 15th Pelican premiered on ABC TV on this date in 1967. The show starred Sally Field as Sister Bertreel. The Flying Nun. The show would run for 3 seasons on ABC, 82 episodes, including the 1-hour premiere. The final episode of The Dick Van Dyke Show aired on this date in 1966. The first episode aired on October 3rd, 1961. Monty Python's Flying Circus recorded its first episode on this date in 1969. In 1971, The Beverly Hillbillies aired for the last time on CBS. First episode debuting on September 26, 1962, a part of CBS's Rural Purge. As the fellow who portrayed Mr. Haney on Green Acres said, out of character, CBS got rid of everything with a tree in it. The Entertainment and Sports Programming Network debuted on cable TV on this date in 1979, ESPN. In Las Vegas on this date in 1996, Tupac Shakur shot several times after attending a boxing match. He would later die in hospital due to injuries from the shooting. It would be on September 13th that he would pass. Apple introduced the iPod Nano on this date in 2005, a full-featured iPod that holds 1,000 songs. It was thinner than the standard number 2 pencil and less than half the size of competitive players. In 2008, it was Federal Housing Finance Agency Director James B. Lockhart announcing 2 federal agencies were being placed under direct government control.
FHFA has placed Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac into conservatorship.
Part of the market meltdown in 2008. And it was in 2017, Equifax announced a cybercrime identity theft event potentially impacting about 145.5 million U.S. consumers. Among those passing away on this date in history, the creator of Mutt and Jeff, the comic strip, Bud Fisher, also Everett Dirksen, the senator, also The Who's Keith Moon, and singer-songwriter Warren Zevon. This is the birthday to painter Grandma Moses, financier J.P. Morgan, actor Peter Lawford, the voice of Scooby-Doo and Papa Smurf, Don Messick, also philanthropist Paul Getty, and also born on this date, Buddy Holly.
Well, we have 3 records going right now, and of course the first one was That'll Be the Day. That's the first one we released. And then we have a new one out by the Crickets called Oh Boy and Not Fade Away. And then there's one out, it's the same group, but it's under my name. I don't know why they did it that way, but they put one out under my name called Peggy Sue and Every Day.
The voice of Buddy Holly, who was born on this date in 1936. He did not make it to the age of 35, sadly. Plane crash. Singer Gloria Gaynor, still surviving at 79. I Will Survive. Yes, that's her song. She was on Rhoda. She was in The Simpsons. She's Marge Simpson. Julie Kavner, 72. Brazilian singer Morris Albert, Feelings, Nothing More Than Feelings, 71 years old. Today is Morris Albert. The Pretenders, Chrissie Hynde, 71 years old. From L.A. Law and Major League, Corbin Burnson is 68 today. He portrayed Truman Capote in the biopic Infamous, and the voice of Dobby in Harry Potter. Toby Jones, 56 today. From Saturday Night Live, comedian Leslie Jones is 55. From the TV show Numbers with the reverse 3 instead of the E, Diane Farr, 53. From American Pie and Love Actually, Shannon Elizabeth, 49. Pro wrestler Molly Holly, Nora Greenwald, 45 today. Actress Evan Rachel Wood is 35. And from Game of Thrones, Dean Charles Chapman, 25. Those some of the people celebrating the 7th day of September as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the 4 freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you.
And from 68 years ago today, September 7th, 1954, William Gargan as Barrie Craig Confidential Investigator, and Ghosts Don't Die in Bed. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite station.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our health care. No doubt. This is why so many people are joining Medi-Share right now. Medi-Share is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. Medi-Share can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. And Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that's worked beautifully for 29 years. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, back 68 years ago, September 7th, 1954, William Gargan as Barrie Craig Confidential Investigator.
William Gargan stars as Barrie Craig, Confidential Investigator.
Murderers, by and large, probably lead very dull lives. But there's no doubt about the way most of them wind up. It's electrifying.
The National Broadcasting Company presents William Gargan in another transcribed drama of mystery and adventure with America's #1 detective, Barrie Craig, Confidential Investigator.
Barrie Craig speaking. An office in a shabby old building on Madison Avenue isn't the ideal place to spend the summer. It isn't ideal for fall, winter, and spring either. But if you're a confidential investigator, you settle for considerably less than the ideal. When the phone rings, though, you hope. 9 times out of 10, it's only the phone company testing your reflexes. The 10th time,
Craig? Barrie Craig?
Speaking.
This is Mark Reed, Barrie.
Mark, I haven't heard from you.
Listen, I don't have much time. Can you get down here right away?
We'll get down where?
My house. The old tower house. It's right outside Dorning. That's upstate.
Well, I've driven through Dorning.
Don't drive. There's a train at midnight. Faster.
Well, what's my hurry?
Take that train. Tonight, please, Barrie.
But why?
I can't say any more. So long.
Mark. I'd known Marjorie for quite a few years. Nothing special. We knocked over a few beers from time to time, discussed the state of the nation, admired sports cars. I'd never figured him for an especially imaginative type. On my way over to the station, I tried to tell myself it was just a fancy way of inviting me to spend a weekend in the country. But then, why had there been terror in his voice?
Ticket, please.
Well, here you are.
Getting off at Dorning, huh?
That's right. Now, why do conductors always punch tickets and then keep them?
Well, we don't, actually. Except when the passenger is getting off at the next scheduled stop.
That's me. How long before we get to Dorning?
Hour or so?
Train's kind of empty.
Late run, don't get many people.
Makes it nice, quiet, and dull.
Moon shining.
Well, who does that help?
Observation platform, back of the train.
Well, that's nice. Gives you a better view of nothing.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh?
Blonde girl back there, too. Been there ever since we pulled out of the city.
Now, conductor.
Oh, I ain't trying to promote romance. I'm a little worried about her.
Why?
The way she looked. Frightened, sort of. In fact, she stayed out there all alone for hours now.
Oh, it doesn't have to mean anything.
Well, that's why I didn't take any official notice. But I'm still worried.
Maybe I'll go back and see if the moon looks the same from the observation platform, huh?
Well, I think that might be a good idea. Only, one thing I maybe ought to tell you.
What's that?
She was carrying her ticket in her handbag. When she opened it to get the ticket, I noticed she was carrying something else in that handbag.
What?
A gun.
A blonde and an observation platform sort of go together, especially when there's a moon around. A blonde and a gun or something else again. Something not nearly so nice. Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't move. Don't come any closer to me.
Okay. You don't need a gun to keep me off.
It's pointing right at you. I know how to use it.
You might try using your brains instead.
Don't try.
I'm not trying anything. All I am is a passenger on this train.
Sure, you'd have to say that.
I never saw you before, and I'm sure you never saw me before.
I never saw the man who tried to kill me before either.
Tried to kill you where?
Back in town.
But you did see him.
Well, not really. It was dark. He was in a car. He shot at me.
Well, what did the police say about it?
I didn't go to them. I had to make the train. Why am I telling you this?
I inspire confidence in small children.
I'm not a small child.
You're acting like one. If you let me reach into my breast pocket, I'll show you my credentials.
Credentials?
Yeah, my name's Craig. I'm a confidential investigator.
You get your credentials, but you be careful.
Oh, I'll be very careful. Now, nothing lethal about a card case, wallet. I'll dump them on a chair here, and then I'll move away. Now, you can look at them without disturbing your aim.
All right. Barrie Craig.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Forget it. Now, put the gun away.
Yes.
Good. Now, what's your name?
Ruth Adams.
How do you do? And why would anyone be taking pot shots at you?
I don't know.
Any attempts on you before tonight?
No.
Well, what's special about tonight? This train trip?
Maybe. I've never gone up before.
Gone up to where?
Dorning.
The girl was small, but not skimmed. She was pleasant to look at. Or would have been had she not been suffering from complete panic. The fact that she was getting off at Dorning might have been a coincidence. I found out back in the club car. Another drink?
No, thanks. I feel a lot better already.
Fine. Now, you're getting off at Dorning.
Yes.
And then you're going on to the tower house.
Oh.
Well, don't freeze up. My knowledge isn't necessarily guilty knowledge. Or why the old tower house?
My uncle lives there. It's his house.
Mark Reed?
You know him?
Well, he's the reason I'm on this train. He phoned me, wanted me to come out immediately.
Well, I got a telegram from him. It was surprising because I hadn't seen him since I was a baby. He had a fight with my father.
And your mother was his sister?
Yes.
Is she alive?
No, she died years ago.
And your father?
He's dead, too.
Oh, don't think I'm just being nosy. I'm trying to find a pattern in... you know if your uncle has any other relatives besides yourself?
Alive? No.
Uh-huh.
Well, have you found that pattern?
The beginnings of one, maybe. The rest will have to wait until we get to the house, which won't be long now. We got off the train. It turned out we were the only people who got off the train. Maybe because Dawning turned out to be nothing but a decaying wooden shack by the side of the tracks.
This can't be Dawning.
Well, it is. Sign on that shack says so.
But...
Hiya, folks.
Oh!
Easy, Ruth. It's a cabbie.
Buggy's all ready for you, folks. Take you right into Dawning.
I'd hoped we were in Dawning.
No. This here's only the railroad station. Town's a couple of miles south.
Uh-huh. Well, lead the way.
I don't have to ask you folks which hotel you'd like to stop at. Reason is there ain't but one in Dawning.
We're not going to a hotel.
Oh, visiting friends, huh?
That's right. Mark Reed.
Reed?
Yes, at the old tower house. You know where it is?
Yeah, I know where it is. It ain't south like the town. It's north a bit. Not very far. Just walk up the road here about a mile and a half.
Well, hold on. We're hiring you to take us there.
No, you ain't.
Why not?
Well, the further I stay away from that place, the happier I am.
Well, what's wrong with it?
I don't know. I never investigated.
Well, you could be wrong.
Well, I don't want to find out, mister. Would you and the young lady like some good advice? Train's back to the city coming through in an hour. Stay here and get on it.
Well, I'm not that crazy about trains.
Well, you'll thank me for that advice someday.
Well, I'll thank you right now. We're still going to the tower house tonight. If you're afraid to drive us there, take us into Dawning. We can get another cab there or maybe rent a car.
Okay, mister. Get in.
Ruth?
Uh-huh.
I'll take you to the tower house.
Thank you.
Didn't have to make no crack about my being afraid.
But you are.
Well, maybe I am. Maybe the reason you're so brave is because you don't know what you're getting into.
I didn't know, but I didn't have to be brave about anything. I was going to visit an old friend in the country, that's all. Or was it?
Barrie, I don't like this.
Well, I've been in better cabs.
There's a feeling about this trip. In the middle of the night to an old house. I love lights and people, Barrie.
Now, take it easy. Once we get to the house, it ought to be comfortable enough. Mark's a wonderful host. And it looks like we're practically there. Well, high stone wall, gate.
This is it, folks.
Oh, that gate's open. Must lead to a private road. You can turn in and...
Now, the house is about a half a mile from the highway here.
Well?
This is where you get out.
You were hired to take us to the house.
This is as far as I go.
I could make you change your mind.
Please, Barrie, don't.
Okay, let's go. Now, how much?
$2.
Uh-huh. $2. You can keep the change.
What change?
The tip is for your courtesy and cooperation.
Think you're smart.
Get out of the cab and we'll discuss it.
You think you're smart?
Somebody must love him, but it must be uphill work.
Barrie, I'm terrified.
Oh, come on. There's nothing to be afraid of.
No, nothing that we can see.
It wasn't too pleasant a half mile. The girl was frightened. The wind was blowing up. There'd be rain soon. The darkness was complete, and I didn't have the beginning of an idea of what we might be walking into.
I don't like that.
The thunder?
Oh, it was so loud. Who knows what it might wake up.
No. That was only a dog.
That was the hound of the Baskervilles, and I want to go home.
The house is right up ahead on that rise. 50 yards more, and...
That dog is getting closer.
That's a pet.
Whose? Dracula's?
There he is.
There he is. He's going to jump at us.
Doesn't look vicious.
He's as big as a horse.
No, here, boy. Here.
I'm encouraging him.
No. Easy, boy, easy. That's a fine animal. He's more afraid of us than we are of him.
We got a better reason.
He's quieting down. That's a good boy. Come on. We'll take him to the house with us.
I hope they like dogs here. Is that the house?
It must be.
Oh, I don't like it. It looks like a tomb, and Grant never was up here, so...
Oh, it's just an old house. Architect had a lousy sense of humor.
Barrie, the dog.
Growling, yeah. Well, what's the matter, boy? What's the matter?
Well, he stopped dead. Barrie, he's staring at that house as though...
As though he didn't know it, that's all. Come on, he'll follow us.
And we'll follow them. But first, we need to take a break for the bottom of the hour here for your favorite radio station, and I'll look at news from 68 years ago today. William Gargan is Barrie Craig Confidential Investigator, the last show of the season, September 7th, 1954, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Attention Walmart shoppers. Now you can order one of the most advanced hearing aids on the market for hundreds, not thousands of dollars. Hearing Assist's most advanced product lineup includes models that use an exclusive app for enhanced control over what you want to hear. It's perfect if you have a smartphone or iPhone to hear everything better. And we have 2 great ways for you to get one. You can call the number at the end of this ad and order directly. Or you can call this same number and we will text you a complete list of Walmart Vision Center locations. We make it easy for you to hear better. Remember, call this number today to order and have a text message instantly sent to your phone to find the Walmart Vision Center near you. Here's that special number.
Call 800-360-0597. 800-360-0597. 800-360-0597. That's 800-360-0597.
Thanks for being with us on this Wednesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're listening to an episode of Barrie Craig Confidential Investigator starring William Gargan. In fact, this is one of the last episodes of the show. You'll hear them mention at the end. It was the end of the current series of shows. Of course, I think they picked up additionally, and I'll look on that after we get done here. But this episode originally broadcast on Tuesday, September 7th, 1954. In the newspapers of that Tuesday 68 years ago, these were some of the headlines. Waves of nationalist bombers yesterday pounded Chinese red guns on the China mainland, forcing them to slacken fire on strategic Quenmo's Island, that according to the Nationalist Defense Ministry. Returning pilots said great clouds of smoke rose from Apnoy, Red Island base is 7 miles from Quernoi. Watchers of Quernoi itself said a great fire raged on nearby Tatung Island. Nevertheless, some red guns still bombarded Quemoy the 4th straight day, Nationalist artillery answering the fire across the narrow strait separating Quernoi from Amoy Island. Nationalist warships shelling the communist port of Amoy early and claimed heavy damage to Red artillery and troop positions. President Eisenhower telling the nation yesterday the U.S. and a group of friendly countries are starting immediately without Russia toward creation of an international atomic pool for peaceful purposes. Great Britain, France, Canada, Australia, and South Africa named at the summer White House as among the governments which already have agreed to join in the project. Others were said to be planning to follow suit soon. Meanwhile, President Eisenhower checking into Fitzsimmons Army Hospital in Denver yesterday, shortly after making his significant Labor Day speech, but the White House said there's nothing wrong. It's just his annual checkup. In an apparent switch in plans, Senator McCarthy's attorney announced last night that witnesses will be called in the defense against 46 censure charges leveled at the Wisconsin Republican, and McCarthy will not be the first to testify. McCarthy's initial announcement had said he would be the only witness for his defense. Edward Bennett Williams, the senator's chief counsel, told a reporter of his plan to call other witnesses and announcing we're ready to start the defense when public hearings resume before a Senate special committee. He declined to say whom he'd be calling. Williams said he expected McCarthy to take the stand for 2 days, probably starting Tuesday, and then it would be a good guess the defense would rest on Friday. Governor Thomas E. Dewey, twice the Republican Party's candidate for president and a public service for nearly 25 years, will announce whether he will seek a fourth term in Albany, New York as governor or retire from politics. Dewey has kept both Republicans and Democrats in suspense for months while he made up his mind whether to go through another political campaign or become a GOP elder statesman at the age of just 52. And an irate Wantagh, New York gas station operator got rid of 20,000 gallons of fuel this weekend by cutting the price to 9 cents a gallon. Edward R. Butterworth said he was irked because the oil company he buys from has been heckling him for not selling that much every month. He decided to unload his quota over the Labor Day holiday. A steady stream of motorists rallied to help him, but pump congestion ended yesterday afternoon when the 20,000-gallon quota was gone, and Butterworth put his signs back to the regular 25.9 cents a gallon. Dealer said the sale cost him about $2,000. He intends to charge it all off to advertising and entertainment. Those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, September 7th, 1954. On your radio, Barrie Craig Confidential Investigator. The conclusion next on this Wednesday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently, and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? We can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
800-477-4612. 800-477-4612. 800-477-4612. That's 800-477-4612. Paid for by Want to Sell.
On Thursday's Classic Radio Theater, we go back 73 years to September 8, 1949. Don McLaughlin, Mandel Kramer in the fictionalized version of the FBI counter spy and the case of the courageous Come On. A girl is good at being bad until she sees a blind spot. Is the sword mightier than the pen? After the drama, Vice President Alban Barkley speaks about hiring disabled veterans. That's on Thursday's Classic Radio Theater, but now the conclusion of Barrie Craig Confidential Investigator, September 7th, 1954.
He's not following us. Well, he's running away, Barrie, in panic.
Well, he's a neurotic hound, that's all. Let's stop worrying about him. Your uncle asked us to come down. The house maybe isn't pretty, but so far we haven't seen anything wrong.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Barrie, knock.
There's a bell pull here. Not exactly a happy tinkle, but...
I'm not sure for whom that bell's tolling, but I hope it's not for us.
I hope somebody answers it soon.
Somebody dressed in the latest in shrouds. I know I'm being silly, but if I weren't, I'd be screaming.
Now, you stick to being silly, while I stick to...
And maybe everybody went to the movies, huh? Oh, and you are.
Hello, I hope we haven't waked you, but, well, I'm Barrie Craig, and this is Miss Ruth Adams.
About it.
Mr. Reed asked us down.
Who?
Mr. Reed. Mark Reed.
No, Mr. Reed here. You better go.
Here, now, wait a minute. This is the old tower house, isn't it?
It is.
Then Mark Reed's here.
You're insane.
Now, that's my foot blocking your doorway. Now, Mark Reed's here. He owns the house. He phoned me earlier tonight, and he sent Miss Adams a telegram asking us both to come down here.
He didn't phone. He didn't send a telegram. He doesn't live here.
Well, maybe you don't know him. How long have you been?
I've been a housekeeper here for 20 years. Never heard of any Mr. Reed. There's no Mr. Reed here. Go away.
You could be making an honest mistake. You better step away from the door, though. We're coming in.
I wouldn't be so sure of that.
Oh, reinforcements?
Got a gun, Barrie?
The complete householder.
I have a gun, and I'm prepared to use it. Mrs. Dunn, what is all this?
Story about a Mr. Reed.
Reed?
I'll spell it for you.
That won't be needed. Why are you trying to force your way into my house?
We were invited here.
By whom?
Reed. Oh, maybe I'm getting monotonous, but it's still Reed.
That doesn't explain your presence on my doorstep.
This is his home.
Fiddlesticks. I purchased this house 21 years ago. It is mine. My name is Loomis.
Barrie?
I don't know. My head's starting to spin. Now, Mr. Loomis, has this house always been known as the old tower house?
It is known by that name now. Always is a long time. It has been called the old tower house ever since I have lived here.
Well, for a lead nickel, I'd buy the theory that Reed was a ghost. But ghosts don't make phone calls. They don't send telegrams.
I'm not very well acquainted with the habits of ghosts. I suggest you carry on your investigation into their customs elsewhere. I should like to shut the door.
Oh, sorry, but that rain's pretty strong now. Our cab's gone back to town. Mind our coming in and phoning for another one?
We have no phone.
Well, in that case, we'll accept your hospitality.
I haven't offered it.
You're not going to send a lady out in that rain.
Well, come in, please.
Thanks.
Mrs. Dunn, will you prepare a couple of the guest rooms for Miss...
Adams.
For Miss Adams and Mr. Craig.
Yes, Mr. Loomis.
You can wait here in this room.
We'll wait.
I don't care for guests in my house. Under the circumstances, I cannot help myself. I hope you will find your rooms comfortable, but I do not greatly care. Good night.
He's been taking lessons in how to become the perfect host.
Thanks for trying to cheer me up. It's all so strange. Barrie, where is my uncle?
I don't know. Do you have the telegram with you, the one he sent?
Well, I think... no, not with me. It would be in my bag in another purse.
Oh, your bag. That reminds me, I left it outside on the doorstep. I'd better go get it before it gets drenched to the pigskin.
Come back quick.
Well, don't worry. Now, where did I put... For the second time that night, I was out on Mr. Loomis's doorstep. I began to feel like little Eva heading the wrong way. Well, that didn't work. It would have to be the bells again.
Who the devil? Oh, you.
Me. I was getting Miss Adams' bag when the door blew shut.
Come in, come in.
Ruth. Not in the room I left her. That scream must have come from farther down the hallway. Now, what's this room?
Yes, the library.
Ruth! Ruth! The door's locked. Where's the key?
I don't know. Mrs. Dunn looks after the keys.
There's no time. Excuse me while I try to ruin a library door.
Now, look here.
I'm too busy.
The library's empty.
Not exactly. On the floor near the fireplace. Ruth. Bruised the size of a baseball on the back of her head.
She may have fallen.
Or been struck. Ruth. There. Take it easy.
My head hurts.
It should. What happened?
Someone hit me from behind. I didn't see.
What made you come to this room?
I heard groans, and then the door was open.
Groans?
From him.
From who?
The man in the chair near the desk. I can't look at him. He was grinning at me.
Yeah, let's get you up now. Come on. There. How's that?
I'm all right.
Fine. Now, which man in what chair?
Well, right there
in there?
There's nobody in that chair.
Your rooms are ready.
But there was someone. A man, a middle-aged man. His eyes were staring straight ahead, and there was blood on his shirt, a lot of blood.
Now, take a deep breath. There's no hurry.
He died as I came in. I could feel the cold air of death on my skin. He grinned at me, and he died.
Oh, this girl is hysterical. This room's always kept shut.
The windows? Boarded up. Only one door. Maybe it was your imagination, Ruth.
No. She did see something.
What?
I've lived in this part of the country all my life. That's how I know. The man she saw was the former owner of this house. He died with a bullet through his heart. In this room. In that chair.
Then I was right.
The only thing is, it all happened 80 years ago.
That slowed conversation down to nothing. I took Ruth up to her room, checked it, made sure no one would be able to get in once she locked the door behind her, and then I started out.
Barrie?
Yeah?
Before I realized that man in the library was dead, I touched him. Then I wiped my hands on his handkerchief. Look at it, Barrie.
Okay. Yeah.
It was blood I wiped off my hands. Do ghosts who died 80 years ago still bleed?
I didn't have a good answer for that. I just made sure she locked her door, and I went off to my room and tried to sleep. I had my troubles. I was glad when morning arrived, along with the eggs, bacon, and coffee. Well, it's a nice breakfast, Mrs. Dunn.
Yes, sir.
I trust you slept well, Miss Adams?
Yes, I slept well.
Yeah, good. That will be your taxi, Mr. Craig.
Well, right on time. Glad he let us finish breakfast. You ready, Ruth?
I'm ready.
All right. Thanks for your hospitality, Mr. Loomis.
Not at all.
We'll find our own way out. Well, what do you know? Mr. Loomis was telling the truth. Let's take a taxi, huh? We got into the cab and drove away. It took a little longer for Ruth to start worrying about it than it had taken me.
Barrie, the cab driver, it's the same one as last night.
Yeah, it's quite a happy coincidence.
Coincidence?
Keep your voice down. No coincidence at all. Our boy up front is working dirty hand and glove with dear Mr. Loomis.
How do you know?
Oh, we found out last night there was no phone at the house. How did Loomis manage to get a cab out here so early in the morning?
Oh. Then, after he tried to frighten us away from the tower house, the cab driver stayed here.
Uh-huh.
What are you going to do with that gun?
Apply the back end of it as soon as he slows up for the turn. Like this. I hadn't any choice. He disapproved of our low-voice conversation. He was reaching for his own gun when I lent him mine, behind the ear. The car stalled, which was nice. I tied him up, dumped him at the side of the road, and went back to the old tower house.
The dog, he's crying, Barrie.
Yeah, around the side of the house, at the cellar door.
Oh, he's running away.
Probably decided we're friends of Mr. Loomis. This is what he was listening to from the cellar.
That sounds like digging.
Let's go down and check.
Barrie, it's Mr. Loomis. He's digging a hole. That body.
The ghost you saw last night. That's Mark Reed, Ruth. And what Mr. Loomis is digging is a grave. Isn't it, Mr. Loomis?
What?
No comments. Or have you been working too hard?
Get out of here.
I don't think so. Why did you murder Reed?
I didn't. He shot himself.
And you're trying to protect his good name?
Very well. I did murder Mr. Reed. A gentleman with a great deal of cash on hand. Cash he was going to leave to your charming companion.
You reel it off so well, keep going.
I have better ideas for that money. Mark Reed became frightened of Mrs. Dunn and myself, who'd worked for him for so long. He sent for you. I tried to have the cabbie keep you from coming here, but...
Well, such frankness on your part wouldn't be wise, would it? Unless something's changed. Your voice changed quality a few moments ago. Lots of changes. What happened? Mrs. Dunn show up at the head of the stairs with a gun in her hand? Quick, shoot! She wasn't quick enough. Amateurs never are. They don't realize how heavy a pull you need on a trigger. Don't worry about her, Mr. Loomis. I just winged her shoulder.
I'm not worrying about her.
I should have realized that. Courtesy stops outside the death cells, doesn't it? We got them all into the cab and drove to Dorning. It had a nice jail. They're glad to welcome Mr. Loomis, Mrs. Dunn, and the cab driver. Mark Reed went elsewhere.
I wish he'd asked you to come to him earlier.
You'd have liked him, but forget it if you can.
I'll try. Barrie, when we were in the cellar, Mrs. Dunn came in, but not from the outside.
From a fake door in the library is where she came. I expected her.
But how did...
You yourself told me when you went into the library, you felt a breath of cold air on your skin. But the windows were all boarded up, as I mentioned, so...
You knew there had to be another door. To the cellar, as it turned out. You know, this is a much nicer trip than the one yesterday.
Mrs. Dunn had just tried to kill you then. You were traveling deeper into danger. Now about the only danger you're in, unless you get to the other side of the car...
Is, danger of this, sir?
Uh-huh.
Barrie.
Yeah?
I got a secret.
What?
I'm not afraid.
Maybe. But I am. Next week's story is called The Corpse That Couldn't Swim. Of course, we didn't really know whether he could swim or not.
You have been listening to William Gargan.
He was
in
dead
another
when we met.
exciting transcribed mystery drama from the adventures of Barrie Craig, Confidential Investigator. Tonight's story, Ghosts Don't Die in Bed, was written by Louis Vittes. We regret that with the program you have just heard, we conclude the present Barrie Craig series. We hope you have enjoyed them, and we look forward to bringing them to you again sometime in the not-too-distant future. The National Broadcasting Company has brought you an NBC Radio Network production with William Gargan, starring as Barrie Craig, Confidential Investigator, directed by Arthur Jacobson. Also heard were Jack Moyles, Charles Lung, Betty Lou Gerson, and Virginia Gregg. This is John Lang speaking.
The show would be off for about a month and then begin its last season in October of 1954 and continue until its final episode on June 30th, 1955. Barrie Craig Confidential Investigator here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank this station. Support their advertisers, would you please? It's their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time you roll around here on your favorite station. Remember, you can always contact us through our webpage and always hear our shows on demand, classicradio.stream. Stream the shows on demand. Find links from podcast applications. You can also find our social media links. You can contact me. You can buy me a copy. The Buy Me a Coffee money helps us expand our collection of classic radio programs, which we are still growing. Thank this station. Support their advertisers, won't you please? And tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. And have a great Wednesday. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.